Welcome, everybody, to one of my favorite topics, the favorite deep dive, the great stuff to talk about things in the ISA world. It is a game changer, but it can also be an empire ruiner if you do the wrong steps. So let me get started. My name is Erik Hatch. Super thrilled to be with you today. Some of you are watching live, some of you are watching a recording of this, but nonetheless, we are just thrilled to have you here. I'm with Hatch Coaching and Hatch Realty based out of Fargo, North Dakota. Hatch Realty has 4 expansion markets, but our main hub is Fargo, North Dakota and Moorhead, Minnesota, sister cities in different states. We'll do this year, 2020, we'll do about 840 transactions for our team. Just over 200 million in volume is where it looks like we're going to finish out the end of the year. We have been building a real estate team now for almost a decade, and it's been a wild ride. We now find ourselves as one of the top 40 real estate teams in the country for what we do, and it's just been a fun run to get here. We use the ISA model in a great length, and we use the showing partner model as 2 of the unique things in our ecosystem that a lot of people maybe are looking for that next growth piece for. I have my partner who's right over there. He is on a coaching call right now. Robbie T is his name, and that's my partner with Hatch Coaching. We are a small but powerful organization that has been out to help redefine how people treat people. You can see that right there. Shameless plug. I am so passionate about leadership and business structure and being great for the people that we lead. And Robbie's passion is totally leaning into how do we take better care of our clients and the customer. Both redefining how people treat people, but the 2 aspects and layers of where we are in real estate. And today we're talking about ISAs, and ISA is an inside sales agent, somebody who is essentially converting leads and transitioning them. I think that there's 5 laps to real estate. If you are taking notes, this would be where I'd encourage you to start. And if you do want to ask any questions, put them in the chat box. I'll try to get to them. If you're watching the recording, put them in the YouTube notes, and I will do my best to respond to everything I can. But I think there's 5 laps in real estate. Let's hope I don't mess this up. Lap number 1 is generating the lead. Okay, so this means figuring out the right lead sources, figuring out where your cash is going to go or the relationships that you have and how to lean on those. Putting that kind of emphasis into it, that's like the first step is where's the business going to come from? Now that you have the business, whether it's purchased business or earned business, now that you have it, step number 2 is the ISA lap. And if you don't have an ISA, you are the ISA because the laps are the same no matter how your business is structured. But lap number 2 is the lead conversion lap. The first one is lead generation. The second one is lead conversion. Taking somebody in this lap from a have not met or a no appointment if it's in your sphere, but have not met for if it's a purchase lead, to a met, to an actual kept appointment. The first lap can take a long period of time, and the nesting period on it is really lengthy. Let me give you an example. A pay-per-click lead in our world, a forced registration lead, or somebody who goes to your website and signs up and they have to give their contact information. That nesting period on average is over 600 days for somebody as a forced registration lead. Now, if it's somebody on like a Zillow or a realtor or a Trulia lead, maybe radio, that our conversion rate from the first appointment until the closed transaction is more like 180 days. So you have 6 months compared to almost 2 years. See, all these lead conversion times take a big amount of difference. And I know that if you're watching this right now, you maybe are licking your chops and saying, I just want somebody to do this lead conversion for me. I want to hire an ISA. I want to set it and forget it. And frankly, I got to tell you that like everything should be earned and nothing should be given. That's one of the major philosophies of our ecosystem is that everything is earned and nothing is given. So as we talk about these 5 laps, understand that we have to generate that first type of business, that first lead. The second lap is converting that lead. The third lap is taking the lead from being a met appointment and hopefully signing their exclusive right to represent contract to pending their deal, to getting to escrow. That's that third lap. This is where our buyer agents and listing agents in our world really come into play. They're taking it simply from, hey, I met this person and now I got them under contract and I sold them a house. Hasn't closed yet because that's the fourth lap. The fourth lap is the transaction coordinating lap. making sure that all those things are done and done exceedingly well. And usually people think, okay, that takes something from pended to closing. Now my job is done. But frankly, the fifth lap is also an ISA lap and an agent lap. And that is taking somebody from being a closed transaction to a repeat or referral client. That fifth lap is really important. And it's really so interesting because we think about which of these laps do we value. In most people's ecosystems that have real estate teams, they'll say, okay, well, we have our marketing budget and we have our ISAs, or we don't even pay for ISAs. But taking that third lap, that third step of taking people from being under contract to a pended transaction, this lap, we tend to give away 30 to 50% of our commission. In fact, I've seen some teams that are paying 70 or 80% for this third lap. And we wonder why we're not making any money as real estate teams, is because you are overpaying for that third lap. The fourth lap of transaction coordinating, that's like a per file basis. And then that fifth lap, we frankly aren't putting enough money, time, and effort into taking somebody from being a past client to a repeat or referral client. So they come back to lap number one, and it feeds into lap number one. So here's the overall question as I continue to ramble. Should I hire an ISA? I think an ISA is essential for an ecosystem, but I'm going to cover the who, what, where, when, why, and how of it, because I don't think that you should do it with immediacy. I think that it is a precision move and a very difficult one to do, but when mastered, will change your ecosystem. Of the 840 homes that we're going to sell this year, almost 50% of all those deals have been touched by an ISA. In our world, we have four ISAs that are working on this. And we now have employed somebody for this fifth lap. We have one person who is solely focused on past client referrals and repeat business. She's handling client events and other things, but we're putting so much money and energy and effort into that ecosystem. Because frankly, if we're giving 30 to 50% of our stuff to that lap number 3, I think we're in a bit of a hurt bag. And we have to start thinking a little more strategically about our business, of how to compensate, about where to put that kind of effort. And it may mean shifting some ecosystems. That's a deeper conversation than what we're going to get into today. Remember, we're going to cover the who, what, where, when, why, and how. Let's start with the what. What is an ISA? An ISA, I believe in our world, takes all of my purchased business, anything that I'm buying a lead for, or any reputation piece that the company has earned. And what they're doing is they are setting up our agents for a slam dunk. Our ISAs don't hand off leads, they hand off appointments. And that is a major, major difference in thought process on how to do this, is they're handing off appointments. They're massaging and nurturing this purchased business that I have for months, if not years, making sure that they're on the right drip campaigns, that the CRMs has the right labels and everything set up for it. And then as you move forward, this ISA should be the manager, the sales manager, the accountability buddy of your agents. Think about it. I went and spent $10,000 on leads. My ISA, they're my insurance policy for those leads. How many times have you taken a Post-it note and handed it to one of your agents, or sent an email saying, here's a hot lead, please follow up with them? And you've handed that off, you've set them up, you've passed that off, and that Post-it note goes to die without getting followed up with. And then you are livid. I had 1 week, years ago, I had 1 week, 2 Post-it notes, one agent's desk, didn't follow up with either one of them. Both were buy sells, both for properties that were pretty high priced in my area. And my own take, not counting my agent's take, I lost $20,000 from 2 Post-it notes. That sucks. And an ISA is like an insurance policy against Post-it notes. Their entire job, they're to take that $10,000 worth of leads that I've purchased, and they are the insurance policy for those. They're making sure that everything gets done so that when they take the baton to hand off to the next lap to say, you're taking it here, buyer agent or listing agent, why don't you go and run with it? They now become the management, as I was alluding to before, and the eyes and the leadership for those buyer agents and seller agents. In fact, In my world, we've eliminated a sales manager position. We used to have one. Frankly, it's just morphed into our ISAs, that they're there watching and ensuring that the conversion is happening the way that it needs to. And so an ISA is not a bottom of the totem pole kind of person. I think that they are a mid to upper level manager. I think it changes who you're looking for too. I don't think you're looking for somebody to be on a call all day, call center type-esque people. Somebody who works in a call center, they're going to work for minimum wage or maybe a little bit more than that. But if somebody is a mid to upper level manager, we tend to want to incentivize them in a really great sort of way. In fact, if I could do it all over again, I'd restructure my entire environment to pay my ISAs more. And some of you may be asking, what do you pay an ISA? I have a video, and I'm going to make a note of it too, because we'll put a link of it in here, but I have a video on YouTube of what to pay an ISA. In summary, we're paying them a moderate salary, and then if licensed, they can get commission on the deals that they close. My recommendation for commission on that is something like 10%, and that gets paid by the agent, not by the company. The company pays the salary for the insurance policy. The agents pay for that person to set their appointment. Because if it's 50% in this lap number 3, really, I think 10% of that or so should go as the compensation for the person that set the appointment. If I could do it all over again, and if I had the guts to, I'd actually put it at like 15 or 20% because I value ISAs on that high of a chord. So a good ISA in their first year is going to make, in my world, in total $60,000 or $70,000. Their second year and beyond, if they're really good, they're going to make $90,000 to $120,000. And the longer that you're here, the more your leads that have been with you for years start to bear fruit, and now you can make 150, 160, 170. And I say that because I've had agents in my world do that, and it's happening right now as I speak. So as you think about what is an ISA, what do they do? They're taking all your leads and they are putting them on the right campaigns, the right touches, the right plans. An ISA is no longer a phone ninja. Go back to Wolf of Wall Street or Glengarry Glen Ross or Boiler Room, where they are hitting the phones all day long. Smile and dial until you fall over. That world for an ISA is progressing and it's changing. Phone calls are still a part of it, but we found that most people, in fact, like 70+% of people won't respond to phone calls, but they will to text messages. And so that means that an ISA is systems driven, and they don't have to deal with rejection of F-offs to you on the phone all day long. It's different. They're dealing now with somebody not like ghosting them on a text. That's the pain that they're going through, and it's not an arduous pain. So somebody who is super thin skinned can step into the ISA role with a little more ease than what they used to. Now, hear me very clearly. We're going to say who is an ISA. We're going to check that box next, and let's talk about DISC profile first. I think if you're looking at the ideal DISC profile of an ISA, you want somebody who is a DC or a CD. The DISC, again, D is dominant, assertive, thick-skinned, authoritative. You want somebody who is a higher D. The I is somebody who's influential and social. They love connecting. And an ISA is not going to get a lot of face-to-face time with people. They're going to spend their time in emails and text messages and phone calls and systems, and they're going to sit in one spot for a long time. So a high I could be detrimental to an ISA. We used to say that a high S is detrimental to an ISA, but that is lessening. Still, I'd put an asterisk of caution on there. And I would say that an ISA is going to do well when they have certainty and when they have no real hesitation at interrupting somebody's world, right? We had some ISAs that were super high S's and they had call reluctance. They were afraid to call people because they felt like they were interrupting them. Because high S's are your team players, people that don't like to rock the boat, people that want stability. And the ISA role sometimes feels unstable. Now, a high C, this is somebody who's analytical. This is somebody who loves numbers and processes and that everything has a system and a place. So a DC or a CD is the best ideal profile. But frankly, I want to talk not about the ideal profile. I just want to say, who do you want to avoid as an ISA? And I would say, knowing that the scale goes from 1 to 99, Anything over a 67 would be a high, right? I'd avoid anybody who's a super high I or a super high S, meaning like I'm a 99 I. I would die as an ISA, just not what I'm built for. I have a high S. Again, I'm not built for being an ISA, but Robbie over here, dude has a low I and a low S, and those allow him to lean in and to be far more successful with the role. With all that being said, if you're talking about who would make a great ISA, don't just let the disc be your determining factor. Somebody who is hungry is so important. Somebody who's passionate is so important. And somebody who is patient is imperative. Please write that down if you're taking notes, that patience plus the ISA equals a success. Because the seeds that they plant of the conversations they have and the appointments they set take a while to actually start to bear fruit. If you set the appointment today, or if you get the lead today and it's a pay-per-click lead, 600 days you're going to have to wait to actually bear the fruit on that. It's a long, long time. Those that plant the seed and have patience with the harvest will reap the benefits. So again, should we hire an ISA? I haven't even covered that yet because I want to make sure that you understand what an ISA is, what it looks like. And so let's get to the why, because the why, Simon Sinek says, start with why. We're going to now start with why. Why would we want to hire an ISA? Number one, I think you're looking for reprieve and relief. You want somebody to do a job that you don't like to do. Frankly, I think that's probably the main leading indicators. I don't like converting leads. I don't like talking to people that I haven't met before. I don't want to lead generate for hours a day. I'm not good with systems, and you want somebody to come in and to clean that up for you. I don't blame you. I hired my first ISA 7.5 years ago. And so I've had ISAs in my ecosystem for a very long time. And when it was about me, I really struggled. I had success, but I can't say that it was big success. We got really good when we hired Robbie. Robbie was our second ISA that we ever hired. Our first ISA is now like my OP. He's running like everything in my world. So he's stayed in our ecosystem and done exceedingly well. Robbie was hungry. Feed the hungry is a really big note. Robbie was hungry to have a great life. And we just figured out that the ISA path was a way for him to fulfill some of his dreams. It wasn't about the task. If it was about the task and finding somebody that loves to make phone calls and that loves to be in the data, you're looking for a unicorn, dudes. That is really hard to find as somebody who loves the ISA job. And instead, what you have to find is somebody who loves making an impact and has a bigger why than just hitting the phones. Because I could tell Robbie, if you're really good at what you do, and if you plant these seeds, and if you stay here for a long period of time, Robbie was a 23-year-old, fresh out of college, broke as hell kind of guy that came to me. And now he's built this entire ecosystem where he's the best lead converter guy in the game and the best coach in the country for it. And that's happened because it was always about his why of making an impact and doing the work today that will bear fruit down the road. So why do you hire an ISA? Yes, you need to hire it to relieve yourself of the things you're not good at, but you need to put somebody in that place that has big passion, big desire, and is ready to go for a big life. But should you hire them? Frankly, your ecosystem might not be ready. If I recommend hiring in any sort of way, and I just had this conversation with a guy on my team who's looking to try to build and scale, and his name's Kyle. He's been with me for 6 years now. Kyle went to a spot on our team where he's essentially, from what it appears to be like an independent agent. We call it an elite agent because he gets no leads from the company whatsoever. He's only working his own sphere and past clients. But Kyle will sell almost 70 houses this year to his sphere and past clients. Unbelievable, right? So he's on a very different split structure and ecosystem. And I'm not going to get into all those details, but he was asking me today, he's like, Erik, what do I need to do so that I can start leveraging my time? And it goes back to the same thing that I will preach from the mountaintops is if I could do it all over again, here's what I would do differently. Hire number one, admin. Take those things off my plate that are holding me back. I need more room to lead generate and to convert. Hire number two, another admin, but that's now helping to grow the ideas that I have that I haven't had time to get to. See, these first two hires are all about the business that I have earned and not purchased. I don't recommend buying business immediately to build your business. I think you have to build it on sweat equity from moment one. Now, there's outliers that have proved me wrong in this. So I'm speaking more in theory than I am in practice for 100% of people, but I would not recommend an ISA until you have leverage for you on the massive, massive, massive sort of way. The next hire after the two admin is actually, I say that you should be hiring a showing partner, a salaried agent who is now doing all your showings, all your busy work that requires a license. They're helping you to grow your ecosystem, but you're not caught in losing the minutia of what it usually looks like in real estate. A showing partner and these admin, when you do that all together, I think you find yourself with probably 60 deals a year or so, maybe even up to 70 or 80, depending on your price point. Kyle right now did this year of 70 deals without a showing partner. He leveraged some people from the company quite a bit and helped to, pay them on an hourly and that sort. And then he has the admin built in because our company provides that leverage. And so his next hire, frankly, if he wants to grow his world, is either another showing partner so he can go and have more leverage and time, or it's an ISA. And that's my fourth recommended hire if you're building this. The ISA means you're now purchasing leads. Let's be honest, it is near impossible to be a great lead converter for a lead that comes in and needs immediate attention, and to also be a salesperson out showing houses and listing properties all the time. It is near impossible to do that. You can't wear both hats exceedingly well. And that's when I would say, should you hire an ISA, is when you are ready to start spending money on leads because you are dedicated to being in a couple of silos instead of being everything to everyone. It's a big deal. The fifth and final hire that I can recommend, and this would be the same for anybody, anytime, anywhere, is that you would bring on another showing partner. Your first showing partner may be graduating up to a buyer agent position, and now you're bringing on somebody else to leverage you in your time. Frankly, that ISA should be in your world and in your ecosystem for you to help leverage you. I've seen it far too often where people want to get out of production really quickly. They run from it. They, in fact, think that it is like this stamp of approval of like, I'm not in production anymore. I've made it. Gang, I've coached real estate teams doing 40 transactions and one doing 1,000 transactions. And the greatest way to make wealth is your own production. Now, there comes a time when you want to let go of that and you want to get out of that. But purchasing leads and hiring ISAs and giving all that to your team members is not the profitable way to the top. If profit is your main desire and impact is your main desire, it's going to keep you in production for longer. But to start building an ecosystem that's tight and cohesive matters a lot. See, if an ISA wants to come into your world and they're desperately looking for that next opportunity and they want to climb that corporate ladder that you have, you lose a lot of momentum if somebody joins as an ISA and 6 months later is no longer in that position. Should you hire an ISA? Yeah, if they're going to stay in the position for longer than a year. Remember the nesting time of 6 months up to 2 years, and those are just averages. Some take much longer than that. And so an ISA role should not be a place where somebody churns and burns and that they're coming in and coming out quickly. I think if you're looking at your numbers and trying to figure out the math, I think that a good ISA can handle, depending on the lead source, 250 to 350 new leads a month. How many do you give them? It's 250 to 350 new leads. That could be some Facebook leads, that could be pay-per-click, that could be Zillow, that could be radio calls, anything like that. I would have 250 to 300 new leads a month. However, the old leads take a lot of attention and time, don't they? Like your system, if you've set it up properly. And if you haven't seen what we're doing, by the way, you need to see some of the messaging and systems stuff. Well, I'll send you an email afterwards, but you need to see the messaging and system stuff that we're doing because it's pretty much all done for you. What my ISAs have built is now available for you to bolt on in Wailopo and in Sierra and soon in Follow Up Boss too. Just a big opportunity. But those old leads are getting dripped on and followed up with. And as an ISA continues to grow their world, they're going to have more and more past leads to nurture, not merture, but nurture. They're going to have past leads to nurture. So let me say this, and this is a brutal reality, is if you have one ISA or you're thinking about one ISA, you immediately have to think about a second ISA. Because why would you want an ISA? Should you have an ISA? What you're saying is, I'm not going to give any of my agents these leads. An ISA is going to be a better converter, a better insurance policy. They're not going to let things die with a Post-it note. An ISA is my ticket to success and to break through that next ceiling. But if you have one, you need two, because that person will work 8 to 5 and occasional weekends and nights, right? But if you have them starting at 8 in the morning, going till 10 at night, 7 days a week, that lifestyle will burn them out. Also, that competition and accountability is really important as you're looking to do this. And so if you're budgeting for an ISA, you need to lead with revenue, that you need to have your numbers right and your numbers buttoned up so that you can financially afford this. Maybe you heard me say before too, that everything is earned and nothing is given. So in this ISA world, an ISA, if they're starting out, you would not give them all your leads. I've seen that mistake happen too many times is, hey, we have this ISA and now that they're trained, we're going to give them all of our leads and take that from our agents. A mediocre agent will be better than a new ISA in the beginning. And quickly, that ISA will transition, they'll earn their right, and they will pass and surpass that agent so that they are more capable. But you shan't not strip your agents immediately of those things, and instead, everything is earned and nothing is given. Give your ISA a bunch of FSBOs and expireds in your market. Give them your old database that nobody else is touching. Frankly, I think that you could just turn off all leads, have your ISAs just work with your old database, and they'd provide more fruit than you ever expected when trained right. And so if you're considering what that future looks like, and if you're considering, do I have an ISA, should I have and hire an ISA? If you are missing any chance to respond to those leads with immediacy and your agents aren't getting there either, so long as you have the financial fortitude, you should look with confidence to jump on board on bringing on an ISA. We covered the who, we covered the what, we covered the why, we covered the when. I want to go a little more in depth into when to hire an ISA. It's that fourth hire, admin, showing partner, and then ISA. I think it's that fourth hire. It could be a foundational piece. When your agents are not getting and responding to leads in under 5 minutes. And in fact, I think under 2 minutes should be the standard, but in most people's ecosystem, it's under 5 minutes. Frankly, I think that a lot of you are flirting with destructive abundance right now. And this is a big eye-opening thing in my world, is that we were dealing with destructive abundance, meaning we had purchased so many leads that we had now seen a net negative return. We were trying to buy our way to the top and just set people up for success. But because we had purchased so many leads, our ISAs and our agents weren't able to respond to all of them. So they just picked off the low-hanging fruit and we overspent. See, there's 3 categories of how you can get business in this world. There's PCSOI, that's past client sphere of influence. That's all earned and it shouldn't cost you anything outside of, engagement in those relationships. There's low-hanging fruit. Low-hanging fruit are things like Zillow and Realtor and Sign Calls and Trulia, Homelight, referrals. Those are all low-hanging fruit. And a lot of times we want to chase after those low-hanging fruit things in order to make our money. I used to coach somebody, they were doing about 400 transactions a year and 85% of their business came from Zillow. 340 deals a year came from Zillow. And they had no way to actually have a solid foundation of what we're going to build. And because you put all the control in everybody else's hands. See, most of us need to concentrate more on this PCSOI game. We need to spend less in this middle category of Zillow and Realtor and Trulia and all those things. And where the real rubber meets the road and where you'll really make your money is in that low-hanging fruit. All right, sorry, is in that long-term nurture. Those long-term nurtures are your pay-per-click and forced registration leads. It's your social media buys. It's your new Facebook leads. It's your retargeting. All those leads, when nurtured exceedingly well, average says that you should get a 1% to 2% conversion rate on those. But what we've seen is with our programs, with our systems, and with the right ISAs, we're getting a 4 to 5% conversion rate on those over a 4-year period. It's a long time. But to get 4 or 5% conversion rate on the cheapest lead that we have that you can buy, game over, dudes. It is such a great way. And so when should you look to hire an ISA is, I think, the moment you are starting to play that long-term game of going into those drips and those nurtures, because it takes a manager and somebody who's systemized. Frankly, sales agents, buyer agents and listing agents, they're too busy, they're too client-facing to care about this back-end stuff. And to have an ISA to manage all that. In fact, I think the word ISA is probably wrong. I change it to database manager. I think that that's really the morphine title of this role. There's still sales associated with it. You're still converting leads, but they're not sales calls, they're relationship calls. We talk about the best time to close a lead. If you're an ISA, there's a danger zone, and that danger zone is 3 to 10 minutes. You can close somebody in under 3 minutes if you've had a lot of nurturing in that, and now they're ready to finally set the appointment. You can close somebody in under 3 minutes or over 10 minutes. 3 to 10 minutes is the danger zone time. That danger zone means when you're just trying to go for the close instead of to build the relationship. Because an ISA is a relationship cultivator, and they're a curiosity generator. They're asking so many questions and setting things up for that person to have that kind of high level of interest and that high connectivity so that they're actually going to follow through with their appointment. So when to hire an ISA, you're going to say yesterday, and that answer is probably true. But if your ecosystem isn't set up to support them, you're in trouble. Finally, how to hire an ISA. These are hard people to find. You're looking for unicorns sometimes, people who are unique, people who have major financial motivation, people that have a chip on their shoulder, people that have a big why, and you have to cultivate that through a lot of great interviews and relationship building things. Our ISAs, at least in our world, don't think like, look like, or act like our traditional salesperson. Simply a different, just a different breed of people. Super smart, super talented, but a different breed of folk. We've had good luck with people with military backgrounds. They know systems and routinization and structure and management, and that's all a part of them. I'm not saying that you have to go and just find people from there, but like, we've had good luck. I think right now 3 of our 4 ISAs are veterans. It's pretty good. Otherwise, I can't tell you exactly who to look for, but I can tell you the character to look for. Somebody who is willing to plant the seed and await the harvest. Somebody who is good at accountability for other people. Somebody who has a big why that's burning inside of them. And then we have a 9-step hiring process I'd encourage you to take a look into. If you go to our marketplace at Hatch Coaching, you're going to see hatchcoaching.com/marketplace. You'll see some of the stuff that we have there, and we have a guide to hiring that could be really, really helpful and beneficial for you. Finally, where to find ISAs, what to avoid. We covered a little bit about where to find them, but I want to cover what to avoid with hiring an ISA. This is not a position that you should hire to simply dump on them all the stuff that you don't want to do. It is that important that you're spending all this time generating, and your reputation is drawing in this business, and you should only have this if you are going to train this person to not just standard but to excellence, because the churn and burn in the ISA world can be far too fast and far too impactful on your team, and you have to set it up as though this is the most important hire that you're going to make, because frankly it is. If you were to have me rank where I would put people in my ecosystem, this is no offense to anybody, but I would say, like, hopefully I'm up here as the rainmaker, right? As the CEO, I'm vision casting, I'm leading the leaders, and I'm coaching the team. Those are my 3 responsibilities. Then I put ISA right here as managers of our money, as leaders of our people. And then we'd have our sales agents and admin. Now, please don't hear that incorrectly. Our sales agents and admin are massively valuable. But the thing that keeps our ecosystem healthy, accountable, and moving right is the ISA. So should you hire an ISA? Frankly, if you're ready for it, yes. It takes a lot of diligence, a lot of practice. Robbie has a course called How to Hire an ISA that's going to be available here very shortly, where you can hire him for just an hour-long call on that. There's big opportunity for you to consider growing the ISA. So I'm going to be done here in just a couple of minutes. If you do have questions, go ahead and put them in the chat box, but hopefully you found some value from our time together today. I want to share with you just a couple of things. I'm going to send out an email to you afterwards. Well, Jess on my team will, and we're going to give you 2 free classes because we love giving stuff away for free here at Hatch Coaching. Class number 1 is Robbie's free class. It's the ultimate guide to lead conversion. It is essentially the 100 and 200 level stuff of all things lead conversion for ISAs and for agents that are playing the lead conversion game. It is gold. For me, I'm also going to give you 5 free courses of a training module I've done on how to build a real estate team exceptionally well. All the insights from the numbers that you need to know and the percentages to how to handle conflict management, build your mission, visions, and values, and everything else. Super important stuff there, and continuing to go in depth of how to build an ecosystem like this. If you haven't done so yet, please go to YouTube and subscribe to the Hatch Coaching page. We add new content weekly there, and it's pretty fun stuff. And then finally, there's some other courses I alluded to that I'm going to point you to when all this is said and done. And I don't see any questions, but if we can be of service to you in any sort of way, please let me know. We're going to keep bringing you webinars every week and lots of good stuff on YouTube. So with that, God bless and good luck.